You will get this quest by talking to Executioner Herman.
There.
They caught Peter of Dauba, George Weiss, and a fellow named Harold that everyone calls Frost. They're scum who've been hunted for months. Now they've finally been caught, there's a big execution being prepared. Folk will come from miles around to watch.
Well, that's a good thing for you, isn't it?
It would be, if I was fucking doing it.
Isn't it the custom for you to do all the executions in Ratai?
It is. Not just the custom, but by bloody right. You're not being replaced, they said. This is just a loan of Gallows Hill.
Here, enjoy
May
it.
the Lord watch over you, Henry.
Well,
He really did fuck
it'll
you
be
over.
tidy for a little
My words exactly.
So who's doing the job?
They invited Executioner Heinz all the way from Kuttenberg. They say it's going to be a big show. The best thing would be if he fucked up the executions. The famous Kuttenberg executioner can't handle the job. The mob would laugh him out of town and beg me to take over.
Henry,
They'd never
I'm glad
invite
you
him here
stopped
again.
by.
Great, so how do we go about it?
The problem is, I don't know what the sentences will be. They'll only announce them just before the executions, and then it'll be too late to do anything.
Would the bailiff know more?
Maybe. But most likely only Heinz will know the sentence. I've got an idea, though.
God be with you,
Will you help
Henry.
me?
Of course.
Great. Thank you, Henry.
So where should I start?
Find out from the bailiff what their crimes are, and then have a look in the Black Chronicle at the Rat House. It goes back before my time. You're bound to find records of some similar offenders in it. You need to find people who committed the same crimes, and came from the same sort of background, noble or lowborn. That way you can find out what the appropriate punishments are. Then come back to me, and we'll work out what to do.
I'll get moving.
And Henry? They want to do the executions on my gibbet at Gallows Hill. I can hold them up for a while, but probably no more than a week.
I'll bear that in mind.
In order to sabotage the execution, first you need to know the punishment that is being carried out. For that, first you need to read the book Black Chronicle in Rat House. Once you have read the book, talk to Bailiff to know the crime of the reprobates.
I hear there's going to be a big execution here.
There certainly is. It'll be a glorious event for our town. They'll be talking about it for years.
Who's for the chop?
The biggest outlaws and reprobates for miles around. Peter of Dauba, George Weiss, and Frost Harold.
What did they do?
What didn't they do, more like? They caused trouble all over the country.
Who's this Peter of Dorba?
A noble who lost his fortune. He's been holding up merchants for months.
That's all?
At first. But then his gang started getting bloodthirsty. They wiped out a whole squad that was hunting them. He won't walk away from this.
What can you tell me about Harold?
They call him Frost because he's always cool as ice, until he starts. I've seen plenty of killers and thugs in my day, but that one's got the devil in him.
Why?
They say the only thing that'll put a smile on his face is the sound of screaming and weeping. That beast kills for pleasure. When they caught him, he had a candle made from the arm of an infant. For luck, he said.
Christ. What about Weiss?
No one actually knows where he came from, but they say the murdering started with him. He never leaves witnesses. He'd rather wipe out a whole village than take a chance.
Thanks, Bailiff. That's all I need to know.
Once you have the info, talk to Executioner Herman.
I need your advice.
Choose the correct punishments, only then he will be able to plan how to sabotage the executions. Choose the suitable executions as shown in the video.
Just bear in...
Peter of Dorba has many murders on his soul, but he's still a nobleman. His neck is going on the block.
That makes sense. His crimes are great, but he's still a nobleman. So he gets an honorable death.
George Weiss is a bloodthirsty bastard who left a trail of corpses behind him. He hasn't earned an honorable death. He's for a long drop on a short rope.
A murderer deserves nothing better. That makes sense.
Frost Herald is the worst of them all, sent by Satan himself. The things he's done would make a demon blanche. The executioner will take his time with that one. He'll be begging to die. If I read correctly, it'll start with ripping the flesh.
Aye, could be. He deserves nothing better.
To sabotage the executions, go to the objective marker. At the objective marker, you will find a camp. The best time to sabotage the equipments is sometime around midnight. First, I will sabotage the tongs by poisoning them. You will need to have poison to sabotage the tongs. You can either brew it or buy from the herbalist west of Newhoff.
If you torture anyone with this, the lucky fellow will die quickly.
Now I will sabotage the ropes.
It'll never hold the weight of a grown man.
Now finally steal the executioner's sword.
And now, to blunt it.
To blunt the sword, you have to use a grindstone. The nearest one is at blacksmith's in Rate. Now go to blacksmith and use the grindstone. To blunt the sword, keep the sharp end on the grindstone and start pedaling. You can stop when the smoke starts coming out. You can stop now since the smoke has started coming.
There we go. Now to get it back to the executioner.
Now go back to the camp and keep the blunt sword into the trunk.
You couldn't chop the head off a chicken with this.
Now go back and report to Executioner Herman.
About the executions.
Is it done? Can I let them get on with the executions now?
Yes.
Now all we have to do is go and enjoy the show.
The execution will take place at execution ground next day at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m. next day, a cutscene will start automatically.
Into your hands, Lord, I commend my spirit. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, who redeemed me by his precious blood, have mercy on me and lead me to eternal glory. Amen.
What the f...
Hey, Henry's come to see us.